Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 25th of March. So let's, before we look at the markets themselves, quick look at the news events for this week, or today at least. There isn't a great deal. We're left to speakers, and that's always a problem in terms of we have no idea which way they're going to be firing or whatever. Or what they're going to really be speaking about. Sometimes it's a bit more obvious than others. I've got absolutely nothing. New home sales is the only thing on one system that's showing here, but it's hardly a big mover. On a quiet day, might move a little bit more, but that's at 2 o'clock. Aside of that, not a great deal other. The bonds perhaps give us a little move later, and we've got the Japanese PPI at 23.50. So, well, perhaps we'll get a bit of action. Right, let's get on and look at the markets themselves, starting off with the euro dollar. And last week we saw the breakdown there, that pretty bearish bar. We saw the follow through on Friday, and that ran down pretty much to kiss it, just about air kiss in the monthly pivot. Now we're seeing a bit of a bounce off that at this stage. As you come down the time frame here, we've got a couple of alternatives. My preference would be to see if it runs back into this weekly pivot. I'm just going to put an alert on that. The alternative is, well, to see if it runs off the earlier daily pivot. My same preference is that just that bigger retrace and see if it sells, but there's a chance that it could go from this earlier point. That's if it goes at all. Do need a reversal at that point. Right, the pound. Well, the pound is a bit simpler. I mean, again, lower highs coming through here at the moment. It is pretty much down to its yearly pivot there, which might provide some support. I've been looking at all sorts of different things here on the pound in terms of its channel that it was once in, etc. I've left that channel on. It's broken it both sides. The more important side it had broken it originally was on the upside here, but well, now it really I might as well delete it. It's probably the best thing, but the trend is coming off these two highs over here, so it's got quite a bit of scope. And again, with this, we could see the weekly pullback, the pullback to the weekly pivot would be a good point. But again, we're around the daily pivot at the moment, so if it breaks this, well, it's just a case of a bit of patience there and see what happens. US dollar yen, well, we're pretty close to those very recent highs. It's hanging in there at this stage. Now, it hasn't confirmed a breakdown. It hasn't broken this low here, which would to me become more significant. It's dancing around where it is at the moment. It has done its double top, but as I say, this low here is more important. It has put some on the lower time frames here, a less significant lower high coming through. So there's a sort of signs that dollar's weakened a little bit here against it, but it's doing the same thing. Well, it is just a slight dollar weakness that's coming through here at the moment. I say slight weakness, I mean that. It's been pushing up strong. The Australian dollar, well, you see I've still got my alert on there from God knows how long back it seems now, waiting to see if it gets back below that level. It put a pivot swing sort of pattern in on Friday, a more significant break of that low. It just looked like it nibbled fractionally lower. I don't know. It looks pretty much. Oh, that was Friday, wasn't it? No, it hadn't taken out the prior lows there, but it got pretty close to its weekly pivot here. Took a reaction instead off the 200. The other markets yet to push up there. If the dollar does weaken some more, well, the weekly pivot could be it, and again might look like a decent opportunity on the short side. That is the US dollar CAD. US dollar here has been pushing through again. We've got the pivot swing sort of pattern here, so a lot of swingy sort of moves that are sort of setting up on the dailies. Again, this sort of level of 136.10, seen so many times the price around that level. 136.14 it's actually moved through to a break of that level, and well, we could see a bit more to the upside here. Again though, it would be so much nicer if it was to come down to that weekly pivot and take a bounce. So we've got these new weekly pivots coming into play. Daily's not yet hit there either, so let's just see how it shapes up. So probably another patient morning. New Zealand dollar is expected to continue pushing through on Friday. Sold off some more. We've seen it take out all its prior lows here, and it is looking pretty soft. But again, if the dollar weakens a little bit more, we see dollar selling this morning. It's probably given one of the better targets because of how weak the New Zealand dollar currently is. The sentiment had changed. It had a reaction already to its daily pivot today. Hasn't yet hit the S1 though, so well, we'll see what happens. Be a shame, actually. It'll probably mess this up a little bit more if it does push through to that weekly pivot, because it's then putting a higher low in on this lower time frame. So just got to be treading carefully. Swissy, US dollar Swissy, again last week that pushed up. It's running through into push beyond expectation a little bit there. Didn't quite push up as far as the others. It's sort of held its own. It's a bit of a slower day on Friday, and into Sunday it's moved quite just consolidated here at the moment, below its daily, above its weekly at the moment. So again, if you inverted this market, if it's a Swiss dollar, you'd expect it to be coming down, and again looking for support. So anyway, right, euro yen. Now this is softening a little more. It's had its reaction last week. The euro's been the euro's just been a bit softer, and it's looking a bit closer. It did do the double top, or the slightly lower high double top there. Broke the low between the 2 points. It sold off quite well on Friday, and well, here maybe if it can just get up to the daily pivot, it would be quite nice, but it might run and break before then, but just need a bit of patience again. Okay, they're the majors. I will look through the other markets in a short while. The other markets, gold really not doing too much on Friday. Sold off a little bit, and in fact it's put a bit of a more bearish pivot swing there. A break of these lows between these two highs would be a soft old move for gold for now, at least. Not looking great as it sits there. I'm just looking at the lower time frames to see if there's any clues. Sometimes you see the reaction in the lower time frames, but not a lot there. Crude. So crude really Friday not really going anywhere too much. When's it going to be back on my afternoon trading sessions? Not at the moment for sure, but we'll see. It's gone into a bit of a wedge pattern, not the clearest of wedges, but it's gone into that sort of consolidated pattern away from the highs there. Maybe it'll work its way down. Again, looking at this, preference would be to see it running into the weekly pivot and then having a reaction into that. So just a case of very similar price action, whether it be oil or the Forex markets at the moment. S&P sliding down a little bit on Friday there, pulling back, and it's sort of running through a little bit more now. Apparently last week, I read somewhere, was the biggest upward week so far this year. There you go. Anyway, good old solid day on Wednesday with the Fed meeting, but since then just working its way back off a little bit at the moment. Again, looking at this weekly pivot, they do go well when markets pull back to them. They do have a often provide good support or resistance. Nasdaq again running through there on Thursday. Friday was a bit more stalled. There, it's sitting around these highs here. Is it going to roll from here? But as I said before, with these markets, when they're double topping here, wait for a more confirmed move there. It's all risky. So I just see with the potential of interest rate cuts coming as we go through the year, it just points towards a more positive potential on the equity markets. Okay, the DAX continuing to push up there on Friday, just in a drifting mode upwards. Not really giving a lot of signs of weakness here. It's retracing at the moment, and once again, weekly pivot. It's close enough to price action for a tidy little sort of test of that, but if it finds the support and starts bouncing, there's the potential upside. And then the FTSE, well, it continues to push on through on Friday, really pushing out of this area now and stretching its legs a little bit more, but off a bit this morning. No doubt it had a bit of divergence across those two highs. I don't know, perhaps there's such a strong move on the second move, and the shallow retrace probably didn't diverge. But anyway, certainly wouldn't on the MACD on that sort of price action. So is it going to pull back here? Is it going to stay where it is into its quarterly pivot there? Right, I'm leaving it there for a moment. Actually, let's just have a quick look at Bitcoin, because it's more out of interest than anything else. Let's see what that's doing. It held up over the weekend there, pulled back again. Saturday, Sunday pushing up there. Today just pulling back a little bit at the moment. Again, got weekly pivots and got the same sort of pattern. This is last week's price action. We can see it was running into a. If you're following this closely, you can draw it from up here if you like. It doesn't really matter, but you can see the clear wedge pattern that's sort of formed on that. It's an unreliable pattern. It has broken to the top at the moment. As I said, that weekly pivot might be the point where it pulls back into the pattern and then goes. But looking, it's like it's still got potential for that, but I don't trust the pattern very much. It only has a 50-50 win rate on this. So anyway, there we go. Right, that's it for me for now. I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you in the room later for those roomies. Otherwise, if you're a YouTuber, I'll catch you next week. Take care. Bye for now.